and welcome. We're moving on this week to week 13, which is your final video week for the semester. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to take a look, first of all, at slide 2, and we're going to look at an overview of what we will look at this week in your PowerPoint. So first and foremost, we're going to look at your exam information. Then we will move on to some of interest issues. And then our third point this week is to do a review. Then we will move on to some common mistakes. So we'll do it in 2 sections, common mistakes 1, common mistakes 2. And then our 6th topic this week is from the textbook, pronunciation, our 3rd part. Then we'll move on to Kim's Convenience Season 1, Episode 12, Appa's Lump. And our final point will be your Week 11 updated questions. Of course, we will be looking at the answers. So moving on to slide 3, which is our first topic for this week, your exam information. So this is to discuss your written and speaking exams, which are coming up for week 14 and 15. So looking at slide number 4, these are the practical English dates that we have scheduled or had scheduled for this semester. So according to my schedule, we are moving into week 14 starting May 31st. So essentially what I want to do is to ask you if, because according to our semester schedule, we are supposed to do our final exams in the 3rd week of June, but the way that our class is scheduled, it's the 1st and 2nd weeks, so week 14 and week 15. If you can, if you have a problem or an issue with this, do write to me and let me know. But according to the schedule that we started with at the beginning of the semester, our written exam week will be in week 14, which is May 31st to June 4th. And our oral exams, the speaking tests, will be from June 7th to June 11th. So moving now to slide number 5, what I'd like to do next is to move to talk about the exams separately. So what I'd like to do is I would like to first briefly discuss each exam separately. So you will have two exams. The first exam is a written exam, which is 35% of your marks. What I will do is I'll follow the same pattern as what we have been doing online in the second half of the semester. So I will give you an assignment, and then 6 days later, I will ask you to submit that assignment. So this will equate to your written test. And then I will call you for your speaking exam, and your speaking exams will be from June 7th to the 11th. So I will give you the exam schedules, and then please check your exam schedules and see, make sure that that time is okay for you. If there's a problem with the time, don't worry about it. We'll figure out a time. Basically, I give each student 10 minutes. So outside of that 10 minutes, you are free. You only need to be available for 10 minutes. Now, I wanted to remind you that in the beginning of the semester, when we were in class, we had 30% for each of the tests, each of your exams, and then also you had a mini presentation mark. But because we went online, then that 10% mini presentation mark got split into your exam points. So you had an added 5% for your written exam and an added 5% for your speaking exam. Again, if you have any questions or you're not clear, you're not sure, do write to me, don't be shy. Moving to slide number 6 now. Slide number 6 is to specifically look at our week 14 written exam. So the written exam, again, is 35%. So I will give you an assignment. I will upload an assignment as usual from May 31st to June 4th. and you have 6 days to complete the assignment as usual. Please do submit it to the GNUE website before the 6th day at 12 a.m. And don't copy. If you do copy and I find you're copying, your points will go out the window. Again, if you have any questions or you're not sure about something, please write to me and let me know. Moving now to slide number 7, I wanted to talk about late assignments as well, just in case. I'm hoping no one will be late, but we don't know the future. So if you want to submit your week 14 assignment late, be careful. You will lose 1 point per hour after the due date. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to explain this. So for example, if your due date is June 7th, then as of 12:01, you have now lost 1 point. So if you submit the assignment between 12:01 midnight and 1 a.m., that means you have lost 1 point. So out of your 35 points, you're starting with 34 possible points. If you submit between 1:01 and 2 a.m., you lose 2 points, so a maximum of 33 points are available, and so on. Again, if you have any questions or whatever the case, just send me a message, email me, and we'll talk about it together. Moving now to slide number 8. For slide number 8, what I'd like to do is to sorry, I'm just looking to see what I have. I'm just inserting the slide numbers to make sure it's easy for you to access. So what I would like to moving on. So moving to slide number 8 again. Looking at week 15, what I would like to do is I would like to first of all tell you, please check the schedule for your time from June 7th to June 11th. I'm working on 10 minutes each schedule per student. So if you have a problem, for example, maybe you have another exam or something like that, then do please write to me. For our class time that has been scheduled though, that class time is our class time. We have that schedule. So if you have another exam at that time, actually that shouldn't happen because that is our regular class time. Anyways, just contact me and let me know if there's any conflict at all. Now, it's really important when we are doing the speaking exam that you are alone, okay? So you should not be with other people because it's too noisy. You should not have any noise around you, so please don't do this in a cafe because a cafe usually has music and there are people walking around. So you should be in a quiet place, like in your own room or in a quiet room, and you should have no distractions. So please don't have music playing, don't have your computer on, don't have the TV on, or any of those things. I will call you. So if you have changed your telephone number since you submitted your telephone number to our school, please contact me and let me know. If you have any questions, again, please call me or email me. So moving now to slide number 9, this is our final exam slide. For slide number 9, again talking about the speaking exams, what I will do is I will ask you basically for your name, so please give it in English style. You don't need to say English style, you don't even need to say English because the language we are using is English, so we already know that, it's unnecessary. Secondly, I can ask you about your major, your student number, And what I'll ask you to do is to choose a number between 1 and 5, and each of those numbers will have a question. So these are questions that we have dealt with in class before. So what I'm looking for you to do is to answer in a matching tense. So if I ask present tense question, you answer with present tense, and so on and so forth. Also, I'd like you to answer using the presentation skills pattern. So you should answer with 5 sentences or 10 sentences, and you should use the paragraph pattern, right? Presentation skills pattern. So if you use 5 sentences, then you use 1 sentence introduction, 1 sentence detail 1, 1 sentence detail 2, 1 sentence detail 3, and a conclusion sentence. If you're using 10 sentences, we do 2 sentences introduction, 2 sentences detail 1, 2 sentences detail 2, 2 sentences detail 3, and 2 sentences conclusion. The idea for this is that I ask you the question, you take a little bit of time, maybe 30 seconds, to think of your answer, and then you answer accordingly. So please do review, and you can practice this definitely with your partners. There are also some review pages in our textbook if you want to practice. So the review pages in our textbook are on pages 94 to page 101. So if you want some review questions, you have them there. Moving now to slide number 10. So slide number 10 is to talk about some points that are of interest. So these are points that I noticed from a variety of assignments, so I felt that they were important enough to talk about. So slide number 11 is a very common confusion because of the way we use Korean and the way we use English. So in Korean, usually we just say, apu, which corresponds to both being sick and also being hurt. But in English, we actually separate those 2 points. So I wanted to explain how it's separated and why. So basically, if you are sick, sick tends to reflect your whole body has a problem. So it tends to show perhaps you have an infection. So an example would be maybe you have a viral infection, you have a cold, or you feel nauseous. Your whole body feels strange. Maybe you ate some bad food or something like that. So I've given you some examples here. I am sick. I have a cold. That means your entire body has that infection as a part of it. Another example would be I feel sick, and this is your whole body feels uncomfortable because perhaps you're in a car and reading a book, and then your stomach starts to feel uncomfortable and you feel car sick. You get car sick. So remember, sick tends to be the whole body. Hurt tends to be one part of the body. So for example, you feel pain. For example, today I was cutting watermelon and I cut my thumb. So this means I hurt my thumb, all right? It's just one part of my body that has pain, so this would be hurt. So an object hit me, for example. I hurt my knee when I banged it on a desk. Or you cut yourself, a broken bone, I hurt my elbow last year. This can also reflect your emotions because that's a part of you as well. So one example I give you here, I'm hurt. I cut my finger with a knife. Or you could say for your feelings, I'm hurt when my friend says that I'm not good at studying. So if your friend says something to you, and it can hurt your feelings and make you feel sad, perhaps. So moving on, I want to talk about them again separately. So if we take a look at slide number 12, this is I'm sick. So I've given you some pictures here so that perhaps it helps you to keep it in mind better. So again, I'm sick means your whole body. It's inside of you, a cold, a fever, the flu, something along those lines. Or if it's outside, it would be you feel like you want to vomit. There's something wrong. Maybe, again, you ate bad food, you have a viral infection, something like that. Slide 13 specifies I'm hurt. So So again, this is one part of your body. So if it's outside, you could say, for example, I cut my finger, or I have a broken bone, I hurt my arm. Or again, inside, it can mean my feelings were hurt. He hurt me when he sent me a message, something along those lines. Moving now to slide number 14. I wanted to talk about best friends. Now, this is, an important part of English is that as prepositions. So prepositions basically are position words like in, under, beside, next to. So there are some words which are best friends and always go together in English. So some examples are share, always goes with. So that's your position word, because you want to share with people. So when we talk about other people, we use the preposition word with. So example, Shannon shared her lunch with John, so together. Interested is always paired with in. So I am interested in, what's your hobby? I'm interested in cooking. I'm interested in skiing. And it's always the ing. I'm interested in, verb ing. The third one is fascinated. Fascinated is always paired with by. So I'm fascinated by the game League of Legends. I'm fascinated by surfers. Lots of choices there. But these are best friends and they always go together. So moving now to slide 15. Slide 15 is an important issue about the verb, which verb to choose. So remember that verbs, dongsas, are the action words. They're the moving words. So travel and work are actually, most of the time when I see them, they are used sort of interchangeably. Remember, travel is the verb and work can also be a verb or a noun. So I love to travel is your verb. I hope to work, so we have our infinitive, to momo, to verb. I hope to work at a cafe during the summer. If you want to give the nouns, then you would say trip instead of travel. Or you can use work as a noun also. I have to go to work. If you want to use the nouns, so I'm now on slide 16, remember that nouns are objects or things. And often in English, maybe 80% of the time, you can count them. So if we count them, we must use a momo, a thing, or add the s on the end. Things, a car or cars, many of them. So examples are if you want to take a trip to go somewhere, or if you want a job that you want to work at. So for example, I love to travel on trips around the world. I love to travel around the world. I love to take trips also is possible. And I hope to work at a part-time job in a cafe during summer vacation. So just be careful to make sure that you're counting your nouns in English. One of the issues that I noticed was the mixing of the verbs and the nouns. So if you look at slide number 17, you can see what happens. So what's important is to think about what you're talking about. I know you want to finish your assignments as quickly as possible, perhaps, but if you take the time, you will make a better assignment, better answers. So think about what you're talking about. I love to trip around the world. Doesn't work in English because remember, trip as a verb means to fall down. Oh, whoops. So to trip around the world would be uncomfortable and unusual. So what's mixed here is that trip is used as a noun, I think is what you're looking for, and travel then could be the verb. So I love to travel around the world is possible, or I love trips around the world. But you need to decide, do you want to use a verb, an action word, a moving word, or the object word, the noun. So try your best to make sure what you want to say is clearly stated. Moving to slide number 18, Again, be very careful to make sure that your point is what you want it to be. So don't mix the verbs and nouns. So I hope to part-time work. This means part-time is a verb, which it's not. Part-time is used as a description of work, so it would be an adjective. So what we need to do is add a verb in here. So I hope to part-time work, we can't use that. We have to add a verb. So I hope to do part-time work, or I hope to work part-time is also possible, because work can be both a verb or a noun. So moving now to slide number 19. This was an interesting issue that kept coming up. Remember that every defines one. So every one means each one. So if you say he works every weekend, we have one and then we have weekends. No match. So we should have he works every weekend. One match. She eats breakfast every days. So we have every days. No match. So we need to write she eats breakfast every day. Single, single, singular, singular. Jisoo works every summers. So we have every summers. Jisoo works every summer is what we should have written. Singular, singular. So that's that for our interesting points that came from the assignments. So let's take a look now at our third topic, which is our review to week 11. So for our review to week 11, moving to slide 21, I just wanted to remind you once again that when we're writing sounds, when we write the sound, it's a small letter between two slashes. Okay, so don't forget that we're talking about sounds here. So the sound of f or ph, because what is the sound of ph? It's f. So both would be written as a small f with between the slashes. So an example, an elephant sounds like an elephant, so that would still have the f sound in it. Moving on again to do some quick review work, which people are still having issues with. Looking at slide 22, remember after a comma is always a small letter, unless it's a name or if you're referring to yourself as I. So if we see yes, comma, he did, the H should always be small. Please, please. Slide 23. This was an interesting point. It's not a big deal, but you know, when we're teaching, we need to concern ourselves with if things change depending on if we are speaking or if we're writing. So in the case of writing, when we use the dollar symbol comes first. But when we say that dollar symbol 200, when we speak, we say $200. So it's a small point, but significant. For fluency, it's very important for you to know about these things. So I'm moving on now to slide 24. Slide 24 is Common Mistakes 1. So this is from our week 10 assignments. Because there's no video for next week, I wanted to make sure we were as up to date as possible for this week. So Common Mistakes 1 are from the week 10 assignments. And if we take a look at slide 25, what I'd like to do is I'd like you to think about, so I've just given you 10 per slide basically, but what I'm trying to do is to get you to think about what these mistakes might be. So let's take a look together and see if you can figure out what's wrong with these. So we have number 1, book is 2 syllables. Number 2, neon sign is 2 syllables. Number 3, sticker is 3 syllables. Number 4, cycle is 3 syllables. Number 5, mask is 3 syllables. Number 6, window is 3 syllables. Number 7, hammer is 3 syllables. Number 8, birthday is 4 syllables. Number 9, basketball, is 4 syllables. And number 10, afternoon, is 4 syllables. Now, I know this might be confusing because umjor, or syllables, may be a new concept, a new idea for you, but a really simple way to think about this, and I've put it as a hint at the bottom, is if you look at the vowel sounds, A, E, I, O, U, or mom, usually however many vowel sounds there are is how many syllables there are. So try your best to see if you can figure these out. I'll give you 20 seconds now to think about it. And remember that usually in Korean we add syllables. So that's another big hint. When we're thinking about English, you should probably decrease the amount of syllables. So try your best to see if you can figure out what's wrong with these, and I'll give you 20 seconds to figure it out. Go! Okay, so I'm going to move on, but of course, if you want to have a little extra time for this, then you can pause the video and try it by yourself. It is good practice. But I'm going to move on now to slide 26, which are our answers. So if you notice that basically what happened is people were adding syllables. So once again, if you want to increase your fluency very, very quickly in English, just decrease the syllables that you are using when you use English words. So number 1, book. Book is 1 syllable. Number 2 is interesting because neon sign is actually 2 words. So syllables tend to work with just 1 word. So neon is 2 syllables and sign is 1 syllable. So do be careful to make sure that you are actually using just 1 word when you're giving syllables. So 2 syllables for neon and 1 syllable for sign. So moving on to number 3, usually ER ending words, it's the ER is 1 extra syllable, so we've got stick, So we've taken it from a verb to stick, and we add the ER, it tends to make the noun. So sticker is only 2 syllables. Moving to number 4. Number 4 is saiko, which is 2 syllables. Number 5, mask. Now again here, you do need to be careful because in Korean we apply more syllables to the word. So again, make sure that you're using English style syllable breaks. Number 6, window, 2 syllables. Number 7, hammer. Again, that's our ER. Hammer, 2 syllables. Birthday. So again, this is when we're using it in English and using it in Korean. In Korean, we apply more syllables. In English, fewer. Number 9, basketball. We get 3. Number 10, afternoon, 3. Moving to slide 27. Again, I don't think these are complex, but it is good practice for you because when you're speaking, and especially for your future students, if you speak clearly and fluently, your students will copy your sound. So let's take a look at the next ones and read through together and see if you can figure out the mistakes. So number 1, we have flattery, has 2 syllables. Number 2, eyelashes is 2 syllables. Number 3, category is 3 syllables. Number 4, outer is 3 syllables. Number 5, athlete is 3 syllables. Number 6, evolve is 3 syllables. Number 7, opportunity is 4 syllables. Number 8, vocabulary is 4 syllables. Number 9, vegetable Vegetable is 4 syllables. Number 10, mathematics. Mathematics, 4 syllables. So I'll give you 20 seconds to have a look and see if you can figure out what the mistakes are. Go. Alright, so moving on to slide 28 now. Did you find them? Now for this slide I actually put a little dash between the syllables so that it might be easier to see clearly where the syllable breaks are. So number 1 is flattery, which is actually 3 syllables. Number 2 is eyelashes. So when we have ES in English, usually the ES has an extra syllable. Number 3, we have category, which is 4 syllables, not 3. Outer, again, usually the ER is an added syllable, so we have outer is 2 syllables. Number 5, athlete is 2 syllables. Again, the TH sound is one sound, so maybe that's why it was confusing. You want to say athlete, maybe? Number 6 is, again, only 2 syllables, evolve. But it is that LV, which is kind of strange, so maybe you wanted to add an extra one there. Number 7, opportunity, is actually 5 syllables, so be careful. Number 8, vocabulary, also is 5 syllables. Now, if you remember, we spoke about modern language versus old language. So vegetable is old language. So for spelling, it's a good way to remember it, but nowadays it's shortened to vegetable, 3 syllables. And the same with mathematics. Mathematics is 3 syllables, old way, mathematics. So you should be using modern style because you're young. Anyways, moving on to slide 29. So this is these are the common mistakes I found from 11 assignments. So what I'd like to do is look on page slide 30. So slide 30. So slide 30, let's read it together and see what you got. So this is about paragraph balance. So if we take a look together, let's read it out loud and see if you can see how we can improve this paragraph, because it's a great paragraph, but I think definitely really easily we can improve it and make it even better. So let's read together now. Go. I am teaching English to a first-year high school student. It's already been 2 months since I started working. At first, I felt so awkward and nervous that I felt uneasy and frustrated all week working. However, I overcame it before I knew it, so I could carry out stable classes with some patterns. There are 3 things I could learn from tutoring. First, I learned how to choose the appropriate teaching method by identifying the child's tendency. Second, I found the most efficient way to teach English. From words, listening, writing, and preparing for college entrance exams, I could realize which method of education is efficient. Finally, I am able to think a lot about what qualities and abilities I should have as a future teacher. Although I had a short time of experience, I am able to give a lot of advice as a prospective teacher. So this is a great paragraph, but I think you can probably see, if you move to page slide 31 anyways, the balance is off. So the first part is 1, 2, 3, 4 sentences long, and then we have our 3 details, which are 1, 2, they're each 1 sentence long, and our conclusion is 1 sentence long. So you can see that the first part, I mean, it's very good, but we also want to think about balance. So ideally, you would match. So if you have 4 sentences for your introduction, your detail 1 would be 4 sentences, detail 2 4 sentences, and detail 3 4 sentences, and your conclusion 4 sentences. Now obviously that's very long, so I'm inclined to say stick with 1 or 2 sentences. That's enough, and it also creates a very good balance. Now another point here is that at first is used, so when I see the signal word at first, I'm feeling like that's going to be the first detail, but actually it wasn't the first detail, it was just more commentary about the first introduction sentence. I did think it was really good overall though. So if you take a look at slide 32, what I did is I just combined the one sentence. So instead of having 4 separate sentences, we can combine it and give 2 sentences, and then it gives you more of a better balance anyways. So we have, I'm teaching English to a first-year high school student, and it's already been 2 months since I started working. Sentence 1. At first I felt so awkward and nervous that I felt uneasy and frustrated working all week, but I overcame it before I knew it, so I could carry out stable classes with some patterns. So we've cut it down a little bit. There are 3 things I could learn from tutoring. First, I learned how to choose the appropriate teaching method by identifying the child's tendency, and so on. So try to make sure that your balance for your paragraphs is also clear, because a balanced paragraph gives a balanced presentation, which shows that you have a very high skill level. Moving to slide 33, this is talking about presentation skills and paragraph shape again. So I've been talking about this pretty much every week, but it's really important for you to notice these things. So if we take a look at this paragraph, can you see, because the paragraph itself is okay, there are just maybe 3 major points that we could do to improve this dramatically. So take 10 seconds, see if you can figure out 3 ways to improve this paragraph. Go. Okay, so if you need more time, again, pause the video and come back to it. If you're feeling tired, again, pause the video, go get a drink of water, come back and watch the rest. So to improve this paragraph, I think there are really, really simple ways to do it. First of all, instead of having sentence, 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 put it together. So sentence 2, we should have the period, and then start sentence 2 right after the period. Sentence 2, period, start sentence 3 right after that. Sentence 4 right after the sentence 3 period, and so on. So we get one block of writing instead of sentence, sentence, sentence. The second point is add the transition words. Use those nice words which signal I'm going to talk about detail 1, I'm going to talk about detail 2, I'm going to talk about detail 3, like this. And also I think it would be good to use new words. If you use the same words over and over, it's boring basically. It doesn't show a high skill level, but you have high skill levels, so show that. So instead of repeating, I want to work, I want to work, I want to work, why don't you use and? So to start, I want to work at a bakery and on the weekend. So we get rid of the repetition and make it more interesting. The final thing is to add a conclusion sentence. So that's that for now. We're going to move on now to pronunciation 3, our 6th topic. So this is our textbook, pages 89 to 92, but we don't need to use the textbook because we have moved out of the textbook because too many students were copying. So moving to slide 36, just another reminder, when you write a sound, we write a sound with a small letter between 2 slashes. This signifies a sound, right? Moving to slide 37, so this is not to be submitted, but I want you to think about these things. So given slide 36, which one of these is correct? So we take a look and we've got number 1, B bracket in brackets and V in brackets. Number 2, we have capital B and capital V. Number 3, we have slashes, and inside the slashes we have a capital B, and inside slashes a small v. Number 4, we have a small b inside slashes and a small v inside slashes. And number 5, we have a b with our apostrophes and a v into apostrophes. So which one is correct? Figure it out, please. And click for your answer. So I'm hoping you figured out that for a small b and a small v inside the slashes is our answer. So moving now to slide 38 and 39 again, I want to remind you of the vocabulary for how to talk about parts of the mouth. So we have the top lip and the bottom lip, the top teeth and the bottom teeth. And of course, the tongue. So moving to slide 40, what I would like you to do, please, is submit this, okay? So you don't need to do page 89 in our textbook, but what I would like you to do is to match the letters with the part name. So which of these is the tongue, the top lip, the bottom lip, the top teeth, and bottom teeth? Please submit that. Thank you. Moving on now to slide 41. So this week we're looking at b and v. So on slide 41 you can see once again I have some pictures of 2 students that I took pictures of as they were making these sounds. They're both native speakers, and I think you might recognize the pictures because 2 weeks ago I used identical pictures. So you might be wondering why. So before we did p and f, okay? And this week we're doing b and v. So the difference here is actually in the vocalization. In the throat vibrates. But the most important part again is b, there are no teeth. And v, we can see the teeth very clearly. So moving to slide 42, once again b, no teeth. And we add vibration, b, b. So you should be able to feel the movement of your throat when you make that sound. And our v is just like f, okay? It has the same mouth shape, we still see the teeth, and we add a vibration, v, 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 like that. So moving to slide 43, now this is our question. So because this is another combination of letters that's very confusing, let's take a look at, do we have these sounds in Korean? So do we have b in Korean? Yes, we do. And what about v? Do we have v in Korean? No, we don't. So essentially what we get again is we tend to borrow. So instead of v, people tend to put b. So do be careful and make sure that you are aware of the differences and how those differences are made, how we vocalize them. Slide 44. So slide 44, again, I wanted to take a look at our different parts, like where those special sounds are located in a word. So let's match the numbers and letters. We have number 1, beginning of word, number 2, middle of word, and number 3, end of word. And I'd like you to match them up with A, medial position, B, initial position, and C, final position. You do not need to submit this. So hopefully you got number 1, the beginning of the word is B, initial position. Number 2, the middle of the word is the medial position. Good. And number 3, the end of the word is the final position. Excellent. So moving on to slide 45. Again, this is not to be submitted. This is just for practice so you can see yourself which sounds are easier to make and which sounds are more difficult. So let's say these words out loud together and notice where the b and the v are located as we're saying these words, and then see which are the easiest to say, which are difficult to say. So let's read together, and I'm going to go straight across. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, read. Ban, van, bail, veil, berry, very, boat, vote. Best, vest. Vowel, vowel. Gibbon, given. Fiber, fiber. Difficult. Rebel, revel. Serve, serve. Curb, curve. Dove, dove. So hopefully you maybe noticed that some of these were easier than others. So if we look at slide 46, we take a closer look at this. So what did you think was easier? Ban, gibbon, or curb? Was one position easier? So if we take a look here, we got number 1, ban, van, which is the beginning or initial position. Number 2, gibbon, given, which is the medial or middle position. Number 3, curb, curve, so the sound comes at the end, which is the final position. Now, beginning sounds are easiest. They're by far the easiest. The middle sounds, so-so, and the end sounds are difficult. So when we're teaching students, we should teach the beginning sounds to our lower level students, middle sounds to the middle level students, and higher level students we can teach the end sounds because they're more difficult. So, slide 47. Please do not do your textbook questions. What I would like you to do instead is this assignment. So I would like you to choose 3 B words, B words, and V words, 3 B words, to teach to grade 3 students, and explain why you chose those words very simply. Number 2, I would like you to choose 3 B words and 3 V words to teach to grade 5 students. So this is higher level. And why did you choose those words? And finally, I would like you to choose 3 B words and 3 V words to teach to grade 6 students. And why did you teach those words? So we're going from grade 3 to grade 5 to grade 6. So moving to slide 48. Slide 48 is our 7th topic this week. We have no vernacular. Vernacular is finished. Good job. And number 7 is our Kim's Convenience Season 1, Episode 12, Papa's Lump. So your updated question actually is online, so please pay attention to the updated questions online, not in your book. Don't do the textbook questions, answer only the updated question, and please type it and submit it with your PowerPoint. And I've changed my PowerPoint slides. So what I'm looking for is slide 40 and 47. Slides 40 and 47 should be submitted as well, please. Also, please remember, don't submit pictures. A PDF file is not a picture. It doesn't necessarily have a picture in it. So what I'm talking about is a picture that is added to a document. Please don't do that. And moving now to slide 50. Number 8 is our week 11 updated questions and answers from week 11. So I'd like to run through them so you can check yourself and see if your answers were correct or not. So looking at slide 51, the PPT answers are what I'm going to look at first. So in our PPT, we had this slide which was, I asked you to submit, and again, it's just the mouth parts to get you comfortable with how to describe the different parts of your mouth. So slide 30 was to match the letters and the mouth parts together. So if we take a look at the pictures, we have the top lip, top teeth, bottom lip, and tongue. And slide 33, in pho, if we take a look at the pictures there, the lips are open, the teeth show, and the bottom lip touches the top teeth. So your answer should have been number 3. Looking at slide 52, Vernacular Chapter 8. So I had some very interesting answers for this. And I noticed again some people were sharing their answers, if we can say that, or anyways, I had some copied answers again. Number 1, the title of the chapter is Disaster in the Dining Room. We should have a capital D for disaster, a capital D for dining, and a capital R for room. In the are both preposition, they're small words, and they're in the middle of the title, so we didn't need to capitalize them. Number 2, Bunnicula was sleeping when the boys left the lettuce for him. Number 3, Mr. Monroe was late because he was at a school meeting. Number 4, Bunnicula was bewildered because he woke up in Harold's mouth. And finally, the family will take all 3 pets to the vet. Looking at slide 53, this was to complete the sentences. So number 1, Bunnicula needed nourishment. That's why he was not feeling good. Number 2, when I play chess, I always have a strategy. I always have a plan of attack. Number 3, sometimes when I drink alcohol, I feel a little sick. So remember, this is whole body. It's a little bit uncomfortable. Number 4, after class, I like to stick around and hang out with my classmates. Moving to slide 54, again, this is Bunnicula, but this is our true-false questions. Number 1, Harold wanted to eat Bunnicula. False. He did not. Harold was friends with Bunnicula. Number 2, Chester was isolating Bunnicula from his food. This is true. Number 3, Mrs. Monroe was cooking roast beef is false. She was cooking chicken. Number 4, Bunnicula was very happy and healthy. False. He felt sick because he was not getting proper nourishment. Slide 55 is our multiple choice. So we had A, B, C, D. Number 1, Harold wanted to bring food to Bunnicula's cage. Number 2, Bunnicula was swinging peacefully in Harold's mouth. He wasn't sleeping. Number 3, the whole family rushed through the doors. And number 4, Mrs. Monroe gave Chester a quick bath. And our final slide for this week is slide 56 for Kim's convenience. So you should have submitted a paragraph either on a job that you have had before or a job that you would like in the future. I hope that everything is okay with you, that everybody's happy, safe, and healthy, and your families are as well. This will be our final video for this semester, so I hope you have a great time with your during your summer vacation, and I hope you do a good job on your exams. Remember, if you need anything or you have any questions, please email me and I will help you as much as possible. Goodbye. Have a good semester.